everyone see me? There should be a little picture of me,
Yeah.
and you see the overhead here and everything.
Yes. Can
Okay.
you enlarge the whole screen a
Oh,
little
I
bit?
I will. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to give a little just to show my working space and my
Okay.
brushes, and I'm gonna zoom in here for a little bit, and I just wanted to talk just first things what we're going to be doing. And this is a painting that I painted plein air, and it sold right away at the Laguna Plein Air Festival. And so I wanted to revisit it. And sometimes I do that, if I paint something plein air, and or if I just, it's almost like it sold and I never got time to sit with the painting. So sometimes I like to have them around me for a little bit after I paint them. Anyhow, I didn't have that chance. So I'm going to paint it again tonight. And so hopefully I can get it done. Um, uh, I wanted to show my palette of colors before we get going, because I was told that people like to know this. And I try, and when I'm teaching and when I'm doing demos, I try to do a little play by play. Like I'll tell people what I'm grabbing, and ultramarine and alizarin or whatever it is, just so you get an idea if you don't see it over here on my palette. But my palette isn't too much different than many other people's. I think I have a problem. As soon as I get a bigger palette, I tend to fill it up. And so it kind of fills up with colors, and I take them out and I kind of go through that cycle. But there's some that always stay, and I call them the essentials. And that's basically, like I have three blues: the cobalt, the cerulean, and the ultramarine. And I think I do that for every color that I have, at least two, warm and cool for each color. So, and I can go through them here. Ivory black, Van Dyke, burnt sienna, raw umber, and it might be in a different spot in my palette, but it's there. Organic vermilion red, cad orange, alyssum crimson permanent, the three blues I mentioned, manganese, and I have two phthalos right now. I have a Holbein, which is it's called peacock blue, and I think it's a mix of a blue and a green, phthalo blue and green. And I have a teal and a cobalt teal, horizon blue, which is a Holbein color, verdideer, lavender, and I do have a little titanium buff, or no, titanium white, and Alvaro's fresco gray I have. So that's just to kind of go through that. And I did want to share this video. It's just while I'm painting it. I thought that was funny because you look up and it's like the reality of plein air painting. And that's why I think I hurry so much, is I gotta get it done before something happens. And so I tend to uh really move quickly. And the first thing I do is I do a sketch. And I do this because, I mean, if the light's changing and I know the light's going to change super quickly, I won't do this. But in most cases, I do at least a pencil sketch. And this is my pencil sketch from that time. And it was before the composition, the Laguna Invitational was going to begin. And so it didn't count. So and someone came up and talked to me too, and I had all these other, the truck. I actually didn't finish it there, but it sold at the Invitational. So and but sometimes I also, and I did this here in the studio before this one, and I if I have a chance, I'll do a like a three. I call it a three value, but if I stray into doing a tonal sketch, that's fine with me too. But I usually do these so that I can add water in certain places, and I want to figure out where I break my forms. To me, that's a really important thing. And so to me, this is sort of like a plan that'll help me when I get to do my painting. So I'm going to put this over to the side so I can kind of look at it. And my paper's under here, and I drew everything out. And I put this white board here so I could put all my brushes out. And now maybe I want to back up just a little bit. just so you can see all these. I have to do it by hand, so pardon my if it gets a little bumpy. I'll level this out. So I have too many, and someone told me I had too many, and I just took that as a sign as I needed to get some more. But I buy some, I buy some at garage sales and on eBay, and like this one I got at a garage sale, and it skips. It makes beautiful skips, like broken lines. And I every time I get a brush, I try to see how it splatters, how it skips, how much it holds, and I feel like they all do something different. I might use like just 5 of them, but if I ever need something special, I just like changing hands. So this is a brush, and I'll probably use it today. And this is I call it a torture brush, and basically it's a used brush I got on eBay, and I put a screw in the center of it, and it displays everything out. And I use this for trees, and I like to use things in such a way that they might create that happy accident for me. Like I use water in that way, and I try and handle my brushes. So sometimes it gets a little out of control. But I have the standard, quill mop brushes, and I have some flats that I use. I use this fan brush for palms. I usually have a brush that has clean water in it that I apply, clean water before or after I'm painting. And I have several of these torture brushes is what I call them. I have liners, and that's basically, I have a couple sword brushes, and I just try different makes and models of these things. And I find it, and maybe it's like my collector self kind of, it feeds my collection of the brushes. Well, this is can everyone see this okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I used to time myself when I would draw, and I try and keep on the drawings that I do, my small ones, when I draw this in pencil, I try and do it. It's really rough. I mean, it's a very rough drawing. It's really about placement and creating a composition that I want. So that's why these lines, they change. I change, the out, I might even expand the format just to, if it feels right. So I do kind of follow a feeling of this. And really what I loved about this was this area right in here and how warm it is. So I really want to try and pump that warmth up in what I do. And I paint usually, I try and simplify it when I teach. And I say, I'm painting light first, and then it's middle values. And I have a little, maybe it's kind of hard to see, but I have a little value scale up here. And, so first I'll be painting, all the light. And I guess this changes too. Like if you're painting in the snow, maybe this section's the greatest portion of your painting. But I think during the daylight hours, it's pretty. I would say that these two are the biggest sections, and these dark values are more of an accent than an actual wash. But I paint light, middle values, and dark accents. So I'll just have this up here just because it looks nice up there. Okay, so I'm going to start with light, and because I'm worried about this this bleeding into this, because I'm going to be putting a blue up here, I'm just going to start this first and hope that I don't nothing impinges on it, and maybe if it dries a little bit, that will help make that barrier. So with that being said, I'm just going to get started, and I'm just going to go for looks like cad orange, and I have a yellow ochre here. And I don't necessarily use a brand. I use a lot of them. And okay, so let's just get going. I'm just going to go for it. And I've been doing a lot of still life classes, and I think it's making my colors brighter. And and of course, we all know that if if something starts to look just right, then you need to add just a little more. The value wise, the fading is such an important thing to add just a little bit more than you need. And I really wanted to pump some of these red lights. And I know there's all these lights here. And I might just add some water. I think it's really important to sort of admit in some way that I'm, I don't want to say I'm faking it till I make it, but sometimes I don't know how these are going to turn out. And it's like I'm just using my best hunches for taking care of all these little mark makings. I want to there's another light over here. And I want to bring some of this over here. I kind of like that idea. I'm not at the actual scene. So I think in one way, I'm not sure how it's going to change what I'm doing, but I do feel that I'm just going to throw this in here too. This light was hitting this building.
So Geoff, I have one quick question.
Sure, yeah.
How do you use the marks on the margins for your sketch?
Oh, these marks
On your
here.
sketch.
Oh, usually what I do, it's like I call this a shape recipe, and I make marks to help me figure out when I draw this by hand. I make the same
Okay.
marks here, so it's sort of an invisible grid that I
Okay.
have that helps me. Oops, drop something. It helps me kind of stay on track. I'm just giving this a little water just so it stays moist here. And so I kind of, I think this is a really important, I don't really care so much about this because I'll go over that with a darker color, but I got this new color in my palette. It's a quinacridone um, burnt orange. I'm just going to sprinkle some of this. It's not, doesn't feel right until I start splattering. I don't know. And I'm going to leave what I call them little bits and bobs just scattered around here. I'm just going to come right up anywhere where the sun's going to hit hard. I'm just going to go drag right across these cars. And just to get like a sense of, light hitting them. And I don't think it's as, I don't think it's as warm as I'm giving here, but that's okay. That's artistic license. In a way, like this is my chance to do something a little bit different than what was actually out there. And I know I'm always when I paint out there, I'm always looking up. And I think here in the studio, well, I have a picture here and I have an iPad, off screen. So I'm sort of looking at those. And I think just gonna start mixing the rest of what I'm going to do here. And, I just got done painting some black, just like monochrome black imagery, and my brushes all have a little black in them. So I just want to make sure to get that out. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my yellow ochre here, and I'm going to make a lot of it. I don't know if you can see my palette. I think, yeah, you can. So I'm making a lot because I need to paint through all this. And at the same time, I'm just going to grab another brush. And I'm just going to start with, I might use a little manganese, but I'm going to go for cobalt. I might add a tiny bit of red to it. And this red might help me transition this too. Because I don't want when a lot of students ask like, well, how come I'm going to try and do this quick. Like they basically ask me, how come I don't get green when I mix yellow and and which is a great question. And I think it's because I use a little red too. I'm just gonna start warming it up just a little as I come down here. I'm gonna tilt my, this is on a tripod, and I love to kind of, just tilt everything if I can. So, whoops, I got a little yellow, a little hot there, but let me mix it into this. So I'm just going to stop right there. I think to me, sort of the hard part about painting the studio is I don't have um, the reference that I really would like. So I'm just going to go right into this, and come down. I'm going to tilt it slightly because I want it to run. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of red to this mixture that I just made. I'll see how that goes. And I'm just going to come down. So, and I want to be, as long as I do this quick and everything is running, it's going to work out great. I think the thing is, if you take too much time with putting these blues in, or anything you put in, once this is running, if I wait too long, that's when I'm gonna run into some trouble because it won't mix. Like right now, all the water that I have on there is what's mixing all this. And as soon as, I mean, I could add some more, but I think it's kind of moving in slow-mo. So I think I'll be okay with that. Pick this up. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit more right up here. And I'm sort of mixing, I could put a little cerulean in here, but that was pretty much manganese and cobalt. And I'll just see if I can, I'm just going to creep up right up against that. Okay, I'll just go right through there.
So there's a question as to what kind of paper you're using.
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention, I am using Winsor Newton 140 rough. And it's much more brighter paper than the arches that I've used, the rough and the Saunders. So it's kind of changed. Uh, eh, well, I guess, yeah, it sort of has changed how I've worked. Oops. Just in terms of, like when you're doing a still life, just some of the bright colors, like doing an orange or lemon or just the flowers. I kind of like that has a lot of push to it. I mean, when you put, like, if you really want something vibrant, putting on a bright white really makes it pop. And I try and make, like these, I try and make it on the first go. It's already fading, so not sure if I'm going to quite get what I want there. Maybe, hopefully I can just going to add a little bit if it's still wet, just to see if I can't do this. And I'm using my garage sale brush that I'm very proud of. As you can, some of them, they're just hair brushes, and sometimes people don't really use them as much. And I just, really liked. I took, it's not much of a gamble because it's like $1 or something that you have to pay. I'm just putting a little teal with this red, and I'm just going to try and, just kind of go right there while it's there. And I'm just going to see if I can get a couple sparkles right there in that area. And I'm just going to continue down now. going to warm this up. And I kind of like sticking to this. If you notice, I have a red, yellow, blue here. And sometimes just mixing them together for the pavement, I can get different, different feel here. I mean, it's just connecting. A lot of times I think we have all these colors in the palette, and sometimes the thing is we want to grab so many of them, but once I grab something, I try and use it again and again and again. So it doesn't show up too many more places. I'm just gonna put some red and orange. Just gonna just try and get some and let that just to pick up some of that. And there's something called the Fresnel effect, with water. And what the Fresnel effect is it's about reflection, far away water, closer to the horizon or away from you. It reflects more of the sky. Whereas if you're looking straight down into water, it's a little deeper in value. And I tend to do, like, if it's a road, I'll do that too. I mean, like, I might put like a darker value here just to get like a little pop up this way. So, and anyhow, I find that it works even on land, in terms of a device to kind of create like a little space. So, and I know I need to make, I just want to make this dark enough. So I'm just going to add a little bit. If this is that, I always think like this is the light bulb. This is where all the light's coming. So I'm just checking myself in terms of the ground. I really want to make it, just a little bit darker. So I'm just adding this to it. And I'm just adding to this just to make sure. Whoops. Okay. Do we have any questions?
So, someone in the audience wanted to know if you always painted wet. I'm not sure.
Like wet into
That's
wet?
that's your first wash.
This is my first wash. Basically, you know, I'm trying to, I'm just kind of hitting everything that's light. And sometimes I think it's like having X-ray vision. So I'm looking at every part of everywhere. I have a little crawl here. Just gonna try and smooth that out a tiny bit. I try and look at every place and I look for the lightest color within it. And so like even when I'm looking here, the lightest color here is some of the reflectedness of this over here. And one of my my use of economics, can I show you a graph while that's drawing really quick?
Sure.
We got a little time. I mean, it's still moving. You see, it's like accumulating down here, and I'll let it. Time is like a tool that is really, it goes under taught. It's like no one, like I just need to wait for this for a little bit. I mean, especially if I want to, splatter or do something else. If it's not dry enough, all that just kind of washes away. Let me just see here if I can. This is a graph I show to my classes, and it's sort of like when you first start your wash, this is the possibility of errors on this side, and this is the time this way. So when you start, you're good. You can't make a mistake, and it's only when you start to kind of get to the end of the painting that it's exponential, your mistakes. So you should feel free to throw paint, to play around, experiment at this stage. So I'm just going to dry it just to speed things along. I might throw throw a little water here though before, and I'll just do a couple streaks, maybe even dark streaks. Just to kind of create a little road texture here. I might even kind of tap some other colors in here or texture just on this. Okay, I'm just going to give it a dry. So you might see some marks, some light areas where I left white paper, and those are people. And I sort of missed that area, but I think that's going to be kind of dark, and I think that'll cover up later. Okay.
So, Geoff, could you widen or enlarge the whole image? Well, I meant the
oh,
borders.
oh,
Um,
I mean,
the
go further back
actual,
like this.
no, no, no. Go back to where it was. But the outside edges of I mean, I'm looking at my computer and it's only taking up like um, 3/4 of the screen. See what I'm saying? Okay.
Well, he's showing his palette. He's also showing the reference image. So
That's
it,
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it doesn't fill my screen.
Well, I'm screen sharing, so
Oh, maybe
uh,
that's it. Okay. No problem.
so it could be if you highlight it. I mean, do you need to put so
No,
it's
no, no. It's just that there's black behind where there's blank there.
yeah, that's
Um,
the screen share.
oh, is that the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. Okay. Okay. So let me I'm just gonna get my image back up here. Okay. So I think what I'd like to do is I like to go from this side to this side, and I go from back going forward. And I think I'm just going to start with this building and come down. I think it's dry enough. I can work on it. So I'll just start mixing while it's drying. And the brushes I use the most for cutting around are these Escodas, definitely. And I think I'll deal with these trees afterwards, but I'll just kind of get this and I'll go right to this area here, which I think is like the most important area. And another reason why I do these little sketches is it gives me a nice plan of action for how I'm going to end up painting it. I mean, it's one thing to kind of say, oh yeah, go back back and then go to the foreground. But like this, it kind of gives me an idea that when I start painting this and coming down, I might even go into the trees. I'll leave some areas, I'll let some areas mingle, but it gives me a path and and then as I come down here, then maybe I'll come into the cars and then I'll stop. And then when in this section, I'll start with the trees and I'll come down and then come into this over this area and then down and then the shadows across. And then I'll probably come in here and sort of take care of all the detail in this area that I want to be, to kind of gather all my little detail information here, and leave this this big and so I'm going to start there. So and one thing I like to tell students, just to really make more paint than you're going to use. I find that and also to put just a lot of paint out is the other big thing. So alizarin, cobalt, some more alizarin, and I want just a tiny bit of ultramarine, alizarin. I might dull it with some burnt sienna.
Geoff, are you always working off of a fresh palette, paint wise?
No, I usually it's all usually dirty, and it just depends. If I think I can clean it, I'll clean it. If I don't think I can get a clean, warm color, that if that's what I'm kind of shooting for. But usually I'm sort of bad about cleaning it off.
But you're using fresh paints each.
No, they're actually they're all. I mean, I water them just about every day. I have like this little it's like it's like almost like a syringe. It's like a squirt gun, and I hose everything down in the morning, or as soon as I get to a site, as soon as I hit my palette, I'll hose it down. So these are reabsorbing the water. So, and no, so they're not fresh paints. Like I haven't freshly squeezed them. Okay. So, and I find if I really hose them down enough, then I can, I'm able to, get to them, and another thing about these Escodas, that I don't have to, and they can really push into the paint. It's not like and sometimes I mix with these because I can get at the paint. So I'm just mixing a green here. I'm just going through here, kind of trying to use the colors I already had. And I'll make a duller green, I think. I'll put some alizarin in it. And sometimes I have a bunch of cut up paper towels over here. Just going to grab those. So sometimes it's like there's too much moisture on my palette. So I'm just, so I'll just grab it and, get rid of it. Okay, well, I think we're about, maybe I'll go for a little violet over here just to offset this green. So, and I have another color I recently introduced is a permanent rose, which is it's right there. And it's right next to an imperial violet. A lot of times I use Windsor violet but I've kind of switched to the imperial lately from the Windsor. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to grab every brush I think I'm going to need. And it's okay. I'm going to start with this. Okay. So do you want me to zoom in on where I'm working and then move would that be, or do you want to see the palette? Is that helpful for people?
I think people like to see what you're doing, how you're mixing your colors. I think you're fine the way you are.
Okay. So here I go. So I'm just, I find it kind of strange to be looking up at a little photograph versus sometimes like being outside. I'm going to go right through just, I call it like a lay, like sort of a lay in value here, and it's like I'm always trying to, I'm going to warm it up slightly right there, as I come down. I'm so used to like looking up at like something bigger and so I'm just gonna, and I'll just, as I come down, just kind of keep adding to this. And definitely the faster you want to go, the bigger the brush is sort of important. I was talking to someone just about the whole idea, like when I touch something, that's it. Like I don't want to touch that again necessarily. You sort of felt like I got a little green in there. I'm just gonna, like, you just want to touch it and move on. There's a tree here, so I'm just gonna stop right at where that tree might be. And I think I'm going to add a little water to down here as I get close to that light. So some of these colors, some of this red sort of shines through. I'm going to add a little bit more water. And tapping it in. And again, too, like there's this horizon blue. Like sometimes I like kind of throwing that in a few places. It really didn't do anything up there. I think too, it's nice, anytime you get a plane like this, if you can, change some hues, like just putting a little red up there, maybe it has a tile roof, and I just kind of letting that happen. And again, I'll come back and visit this. And another thing, I'm going to be tomorrow. Gosh, I get another thing I'm doing. I'm with Eric Rhodes. There's going to be like a webinar, and just going to make this a little bit darker. It's looking a little white. So I'm just adding to this, and I'll just see if it'll kind of move down. I'm tilted probably about 5 degrees, maybe right here. And sometimes as I paint, like I'll tilt one way or other depending on, what I'm doing. And anyhow, I'm supposed to be talking about the things that beginning artists, being watercolorists, forget, or now I can't even remember. I better look it up for tomorrow. So I'm gonna grab some of this green. Might even warm it up a tiny bit. I'm just gonna, you can see where all these little brushes kind of, here, I'm grabbing this torture brush, and I think I'm just gonna kind of go into up here just to kind of create some of this tree. And I'm going to add some water at the top of this. So this is, I call say, it's like a pre-wet. This is clean water. As I come into that water, it'll just kind of get activated and start moving down. And I kind of like, as it comes to this edge, like I'm not even sure if I want it to be a hard edge. I'm taking some of this peacock blue Van Dyke. See if I can't kind of come to this. And what I kind of like about this brush is I'm not really looking at the edges. I mean, the brush takes care of the edges for me. I'm just going to get a little orange just to kind of just because this is getting some of that sun, I'm just going to throw some orange in there. It's pretty nice and wet. And, another thing that I never thought of happening at the beach is, your paints don't dry. Like if I was painting this, there's times that it's so humid. There's so much moisture coming off the beach like that. And this is what my hand looks like. So I'm adding this one. Like these things don't dry. And which when I go out to Borrego, I have the opposite problem where it dries immediately. So the reason why I switched to this brush, I just want to start to throw in maybe a couple dark values in this. I might even put a little alizarin crimson. You just don't get a dark blue until you add some, that red to it. And this is really moist. So I think my humidity right now, if I was to guess, it's really up there. So okay.
So Geoff, plein air, do you have a portable dryer or do you just wait?
I just bought a little travel dryer that's been, and when I was at the Laguna, so I went to some business, it was an art gallery, and I said, can I dry my paper? I kind of figured, well, they have to let me because, I'm an artist, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I got in. They let it happen. So, which was kind of nice. I'm just gonna put a little, oops. I'm just trying to be really delicate. I don't like that I kind of got that. Okay, maybe I'll just let that be. And I'm just looking right up here is where that red light is. And so I think I could even add a little more and let it kind of glow a little bit. And maybe I'm just going to go for the orange, a little, warmer values, and see if I can't sort of get that more things to happen here with color. That's one thing that I wanted. You always every time I kind of consider each time I do a painting, it's like it's an effort.
So there's a question as to why you decided to do this in a panoramic format.
Oh, I don't know. A lot of times I think I'm looking for I'm looking for uh you know like like what I don't see out there. And I was thinking, I really like these panoramics. I mean, I saw Richie Vias doing some, and I had done some before myself, but I felt like, yeah, I really liked it. And so that's why it's, eh, so I kind of felt like I could, start doing some of that, and like there would be a place for it. And also it's like I'm sort of like all the urban stuff, and I felt like I want to reduce the sky and up all the stuff that's at one level, you know. Um, so let's see. I'm just gonna grab um uh I don't know if that made sense or not. When you're painting, it's really hard to it I mean, as much
Paint
as
and
I
talk at the same time.
paint and talk, like who thought that one up? I mean, I'm trying to get myself like I should just use this violet here. And I'm just going to go lightening this up. This is the Laguna Hotel. And I think they wanted to fix it up, but it got bought by a developer. And I'm not sure what he intends for it. But things aren't happening fast enough, I think, for the townspeople. I think they're sort of disappointed in that, how it's sort of like in a limbo. Anyhow, it's just right down there, and it really symbolizes somehow like a bit of history there. And I'm just making some abstract marks, which are, uh, the fire escapes. And another thing I think that in plein air, I tell students that when you're there, it's like you're a long exposure. Like you're not trying to get just uh, what you see. It's not like a camera where you take a picture and that's it. Like if I see something that kind of unfolds, um, like, and it's not there when I'm painting it, I'll put it in. So I kind of feel like I'm a long exposure. Like I'm getting stuff that it might not be there, at that moment, but I really do like. I'm just gonna get. Oh yeah, I need to get that. It's gonna up the red on this just a tiny bit. This, oops. Okay, I'm gonna have some birds there because and sometimes like a wavy, like that's an imperfect line, but I kind of like it that it's imperfect. I think a lot of times like there's so many, I don't know if it's students or even people that aren't students. I think that there's you can kind of embrace like uh, a playfulness in your art making, um, by if something happens here, sort of going with it versus trying to like clean it up and make it perfect. And I don't know who I was talking to, but we were kind of saying, now the reason I'm coming up here is it's still moist. I'm sort of testing the waters for adding some color to this. Remember I said like I was thinking, oh, my humidity here is really, really high. I mean, I can't, in my studio right now, it's not drying, it's staying moist. It's like as if I'm there at the beach. And so like I have time, I can come back to this. Hopefully I'll remember. That's the big if. I'm just gonna see. I'm trying to pick. Now it's time to go for I even have a brush that's even smaller. Pardon me. And this one is it carries no water. So if I want something, put something on and I want it to kind of stick, but I want it to spread out just a little bit because in the shadow, I kind of want it to be soft. So just gonna go try and pick up some of the blue here and and we'll see if I can't. It could be maybe too early to do that. No. And I kind of think this is interesting. This is a part where this goes into the tree. I think I'm just gonna splatter up here. It looks like, I think it doesn't feel enough like a tree. So I'm just gonna give it a little more. And I kind of found, oops, I gotta put my brushes down. Just gonna try and mask it here and just kind of come right up to. So some of this sort of comes in here. I think that'll be okay. I need to straighten this up a bit. Yep. Okay. And I think what I'll do is I'm just going to take another brush and bring these trees. I haven't even looked at Can someone tell me too, like how much time I have? like, when I get going on this, like, oh, that would be wonderful too. Just gonna come into this building, down, some quick marks over here.
Geoff, you have about 40 minutes.
40 minutes?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Okay. I need that panic time to kind of like kick it into gear.
All right, usually. You got 10 minutes.
We've all been there, right? So this is a part I think is kind of interesting. Like I know I'm over here to the side. Maybe I'll add a little water just to kind of, mush this up a bit. Like right here. But it's sort of that, like how you handle some of these. I mean, look at me. I just went into the tree. I kind of messed that tree up. Maybe I'll grab a little bit more blue as I come down here. I want these cars. I want to join into these cars. So just that big bunch of mush that I just made, I think will help that happen. And there's a tree right here too, but I can't do that yet. And let's just try and, I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to kind of connect the dots a little bit. I made all these like, splatter dots. I'm just going to connect some of those. And I like that. I don't like that it got close to the tower. I like if it makes any kind of like a little natural kind of mark, like a pattern, like how, like sometimes we just spend so much time trying to make it by hand, whereas sometimes like just a little splattering, that'll do, Okay, so I'm just going to come down here. I'm just going to cut around my people. I'm going to connect. I'm going to go for some, there's this, I'm just going to go right into some of the shadow side of the people here. And I'm using this Horizon Blue to do it. I like to kind of throw it in to anytime like I have like a unique little spot, like I want people to look, I kind of like putting a unique color just to kind of get their attention there. And that tends to be one of those colors that I use. And I know it's going to bring that into the cars too. The windshield, I threw a little bit of cobalt into that. And the one thing, if you grab a little brush, it's so hard to let the little ones go, to get back to the big brush. I hope, like if I kept painting like that, everything would slow down. I'm back to my big brush now. So I'm just going to go into these, I'm going to lighten this up a bit. I want to keep these, I want these cars to feel like they're sort of, some lights hitting it, but I want it to go a little bit dark. Sometimes this is where I like to use this Avro's gray. It's really quick for me just to, get, it's semi-transparent. It's real dark. All of a sudden it's like, it'll help me kind of get that depth really quick that I want. And I don't know about you guys, but when I paint like this, I tend to close my eyes almost, like as I paint, just so that I'm looking at shapes and not looking at I don't want to be looking at what I'm painting, but sort of like I call it, we paint in parts. But when we go to a museum and we're looking at artwork, we're really looking at, you walk in, you make a micro decision. Do I like that or not? Based on, whatever, is appealing to you, what, beauty. And, but when we paint, it's like we're always building everything in parts. It's like that's how our brain works. And I definitely think that like I'm getting stuck in the parts right now, and like by squinting halfway through, it allows me to kind of see parts instead, or see the whole. I'm sorry, pardon me. See the whole instead. I'm just I think I want to get some. I'm looking for some titanium white. I'm not sure if I have enough in there. I'm going into my drawer of paints. I'm just going to put a little out in my palette. So that's my only fresh paint. And I'm just going to use this empty one. I'm just wondering what something up here would do. And I'm not sure if I can pull what's already there. So I'm just adding this. And it tends to sort of, I don't know, make something. I'm going to go back into this Alvaro's, kind of like a gray. Alvaro's gray. I'm just going to add this underneath, just right around it. I think I want this to more action right here. And I'm going to give it I'm going to use my arm to cover the tree, which is plenty wet. I'm going to give that a couple snippets. Okay, so I'm just going to come down here, and hopefully I'm going to get to here pretty soon. I think I might start on this side. I might even hit that with more color. So, that's kind of going with that idea of working back forward, because as soon as I hit this, it's going to go into that. And so I'd rather do that first. And so that'll be dry by the time I get to this. So I'm just going to clear a little of this out. Now it's in the photograph, the color, I'm going to look at my piece that I painted. It's sort of a gray. So I'm just going to do a teal gray. I'm going to mix this cobalt turquoise with some of this purple over here, and I think it's going to neutralize it. So kind of adding a new color. Oh, yes?
Sorry. I had a question about your sky. That is not opaque, is it? It's transparent colors, just very light.
Yes. Oh, the sky. Yeah, that was a cobalt. I used some manganese up here to kind of kick up the
And
satch
then
of it a little bit. And
and
then
then
I
down
added a
below.
little red. So if anything, there might be a semi-transparent in there. And then this is yellow ochre.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no opaque in the.
Is the horizon blue color that you're using, is that a opaque?
It's a semi. Well, I think they're all called semi-transparent. I don't think, is there any, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a semi.
Okay.
So it has some white in it, and it has a phthalo green in it. And if I want it to, it'll, like, sometimes I use it to actually like throw in something if I lose some color, want to add something, like I just like throw it in there. And also, like when here I have some right here. With my mistake brush, I mean my used brush. Kind of like that. It's very kind of jaggedy right there, but I think that's great. This went a little too green, but that's all right. Might scratch. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on here, so I even like scratching that too. I think that might went too dark, so I'm going to pick that up. Okay. Okay. So I'm looking for that small. Okay, let's go for this guy. I made this guy recently, and I'm sort of this brush, but I think I want to use it in here. So I want to, and I really want to kick in the warmth right in that location. So, oops, yellow. You can even tell when I'm trying to pick up color, you get more than one color because
It goes in more than one pan.
it goes in more. Yeah, it goes in a couple. So maybe I'll get like right here is in this part of my palette. There's that peacock, and it's right next to this. It's all my blue greens. I mean, the teal should probably be over here too, but so it's almost like I can just pick up a lot of these, and then I'm just going to try and let's try it's like some burnt sienna, maybe some of that. This okay.
You got half an hour.
Half an hour. Oh wow,
I know.
time flies.
I know when you're
But
having a good time, right?
having a good time. I know. Okay, so I'm just going to pull down, and I'm just going to go right up to this guy, and I'm just going to use my little liner. In one way, maybe I should be painting for my painting too. I should have that up. And I think I tried to make that dark. I have like something here. I'm just going to make like as if these are birds. So I have a little mark that I made. And if you've ever been to Laguna, they have a lot of pigeons that fly around there. So it's really, it really sort of fits. And I'm just going to take some alizarin into that. So I'm trying to make this deeper as I bring down and come into it. And I'm just going to go for all this little stuff. I call this my wiggly brush because it's sort of like you can almost just wiggle it around and it makes some wild marks. And then I'm just going to go right into my cobalt, or maybe I may even go just a little of this teal, that turquoise, mix it into stuff I already have. I'm going to pull the shadow. And this is the shadow that comes from this tree. I just really loved it. And I'm just going to come down. I'm going to cut around some of the people and things here. And there's cars on the other side of the street. There's a whole bunch of detail. I'm just going to try and indicate really quickly. And maybe I'll it's like the more I come out with this, the more I'm sort of almost touching, connecting these two sides. And only open space is right here where there's going to be some people coming through. And I'm just going to go kind of grabbing some of this teal mix that I have and coming back into here. And just going to look over here. And I'm just going to, maybe I'll take this teal and I'm going to, and some of that, and I'm just going to go right into here. And I'm going to let that mix with some of that red that's still sort of wet in this area. And it's, you know, as long as it's wet, it's going to mix a little. And so really it's like as soon as it loses its, you know, that little bit of moisture, that's, but I kind of like how it's settling down there. So I think that's great. And I'll just do a couple quick marks for like, you know, like windows and things. And I don't have to really fill them in. I kind of like that it's,
so, couple of questions.
Uh-huh.
And who are your inspirations or favorite artists?
Oh, great question. Well, I first started with uh, Charles Reed.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's like my wife and I, we went into an illustration business and together. And I like I was living up in Los Angeles and I had done a lot of oil painting, but I hadn't done tons and tons of watercolor. I mean, I'd done it in college. I had a college class. And anyhow, I started there and I got videos and eventually I ended up lucky enough to go on a workshop with him to France with my wife. And we did that in 2016. And that was really great, really special. And then the next I'd say, and I took a workshop from him and I've taken two, Joseph Zbukowicz. And
Oh, yes. Zbukowicz.
You guys know him, right? Is he?
Yeah. I know of him.
Yeah, he's a not very well known watercolorist from Australia. No, he's very well known.
Yes.
I've had two from him, and then I took a workshop from Chin Chung Wee at MISA. And I'm just gonna try, pardon me. I wonder if it's time I could just do a little scratch here. Sometimes a scratch is a nice mark to make, just to add some detail to stuff. I took him, and that was the best workshop I ever had, Chin Chung Wee. And a lot of the things that I teach really came from him. A lot of the ideas that I cover when I teach, I felt like he was really great. Really loved him, and you know, I hope I have another chance to see him. Okay, so I came down here, and I think I'm done with that section. And so I'm just going to move on to this, and I'm going to do what I call try and do like a set and let. I'm going to put a lot of water. I'm picking it up with my hands, and I'm going to even put some on the tape, so it's ready to enter. I might even put a little bit over here too. And sometimes I'll just throw some on, like I'll just like throw like little puddles, and I kind of feel like they're little. I got a little bit too much there, but little landmines. And so when I get to them, it's like they let loose. And I kind of want that, you know, and I want to use thick enough paint that when I come up to them, that it pushes the paint somewhere. So yellow, orange, wow, way too bright. So we go into that alizarin. This alizarin with this blue really kind of makes it kind of dulls it. So if I find that it's just too bright, I just put that alizarin in and it really kind of darkens up quite a bit. So, okay, so the light is coming this way. And so I kind of want to make it as if light is coming through that tree. And I'm going to start on this side, which is really dark. Again, like just trying to, and also notice I try to not to vary my strokes. It's like just to, twist this thing, turning it. And maybe as I get closer here, maybe I'll add just a little bit of warmth to this mix as I approach my thing over here.
So you do usually, when you scatter water, use your hand instead of a spray bottle?
Yeah. Well, I wanted a lot of it, and I'm going to tilt the board slightly here. Let me get rid of those guys. There, I just added some more. And so hopefully, it's almost like I really hope I have enough paint. And so again, just in terms of, I'm not sure how great I'm doing here, but just in terms of these shapes of this right here, it's just like close your eye, closing my eye. And it's like, I'm worried about the shape of it, not necessarily the detail of the edge, just more of the shape of it.
Does that water contribute to what you were talking about earlier, breaking the form?
Yeah. No, I totally think like that. This tree, I'm trying to break this tree up. I'm trying to let it's like an exit strategy for your eye, or maybe it's an enter strategy for your eye. Think about like a mouse trap, or the game, or I don't know. It's like I'm trying to make little pathways through this thing, and then too, I want to break it here as well. So even this would have something going on, and I think I can add just a little bit of warmth up here. And I'm just going to go for the yellow ochre, dirty yellow ochre. And I'm just going to put that in there too. And I'll just see if that kind of makes its way. And I'm just peppering it. I'm just, just splattering some in there. And I'm just going to see if I can wash it out. And I do sort of feel like a lot of the techniques that I use, they came from, everyone I studied with. Now I'm using a different brush here, just to kind of, it's not so crazy as the other. And I'm going to take some of this red. I'm going to get some red into my mix right here, because it's the sort of that bottom part of the tree. And sometimes really lost a lot of my holes that I wanted to have. And I'm adding some water to some of them too. So that this hole right here, the sky hole, I just put water in it on the bottom side of it, and I'll just see if it'll just let loose. And that one I touched. Oh well. So touching the bottom side of that little sky hole, just so I guess I'm even opening up some of them in a way. I better hurry up because it's all coming down. So kind of going into, maybe I'll go into my Van Dyke, a little violet, all pretty dark here. And some of these, and all these are sort of intermingling. So I'm just going to let them all connect here. All these like branches. And a lot of times what I might do, if it fades, I might try and pull branches out of this. But right now I'm just going to let that flow, because it's doing a nice watercolor effect. And that's another thing, like, in some of these competitions that I'm in, I'm competing against oil painters. And sometimes I feel like I don't want to try and do what they do. I want to try and do what watercolor does well. And, I guess I care. And Jason Lee, a wonderful another watercolorist that competes there, and he won the big prize, the first place, which I think only Andy Evenson had won that before. And anyhow, but we're just really happy for our medium that that it got recognized. That was really, really great. And I forgot. I'm just gonna add a little red to this blue. Okay, that'll work. And I'm just gonna go into this restaurant across the street, and I forgot to kind of go into it. So I'm just gonna do that right now. And I'm just gonna go right through all this and let all that stuff connect. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for, I think I'm gonna use this brush. So while all that's sort of cooking, right? It's still moving, it's still wet. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen here yet, but I'm gonna start doing this and see if I can't sort of connect it into that while that's still wet. So that was sort of like a section just in and of itself. And I think maybe I'll put a couple drops of water here. And I think I'm gonna start, maybe I threw a little manganese in here. Maybe I'll start with that. And I'm gonna make it pretty wet. Whoops. And just gonna break that. Whoops. Whoa, I don't know how. I'm not sure what I got. I just picked something up off my palette. And I think I'm just gonna, there's a sign, I didn't paint it. I sort of did I reordered the architecture here a little bit on my building. And I'll just go through some of it. And maybe I'm just gonna, and this sign, I think I'm just gonna use maybe another hue. I mean, a little bit, let's go. I'll just use some of that horizon. No, it looks pretty much the same. Just leave some of that. And I'm gonna go into violet, alizarin, and there's like a little awning here. So I'm just gonna try and get that as well. Gonna come into it. I think I'm just gonna let that mix in a little bit here. And I'm gonna throw a little, I feel like it might need a tiny bit more activity here. So I'm just gonna throw a little water up there. It might have been too much. I guess this is sort of what I mean by, cursings and blessings. It's like, it's like, but, sometimes water gives you things like this, but it can also sort of mess a nice wash up. Like if you go into it just a little bit too late. I'm sure you guys know that. I'm just, this is window, and some reflected light off the pavement. I'm just going to try and indicate there's all this detail, and I don't want to do too much. But and I like the sharpness, over here within the shadow. So, I better take that all the way down. So it's nice, like on something like this, to bring it down and just give it a kiss of moisture right there on the bottom, just so it stays moist for you. Okay, so I'm just going to come back here, and I think I'm going to slightly warm this up. It's like I'm making up a reality that's not there. And so that's why I think sometimes it can be kind of hard, but I think a nice thing to do is, like, if you're not sure, use more water and it will help hide all the you know, all the things that are going on. So I'm really just indicating a lot of stuff that's not going on there. And I was thinking about putting a person in here kind of coming out this door. And I'm just going to go right into the sidewalk, and I'm just going to give it a little shadow coming out. And I'm going to join it into the trees. How much time do I have?
10 minutes. No, 14 minutes.
Oh boy, yeah.
You're
Kind of like,
fine.
I kind of like cutting it close. I'm going into some lunar violet, which is another, you know, when I really want to go dark quick, man, this stuff's really great. I'm going to go right into this tree, just kind of joining these dark things. And I don't mind doing this now while it's all sort of wet here, because you know, in my mind, it's in the shadow and I want it to be soft. So I'm just going to go little lunar back, little Van Dyke. I'm just going to come, I'm kind of going to for just, and I'm just going to kind of pop out some, just connect this to what's going on out here. And I'm just going to give, again, another, going for this horizon. It's got some, just going to, sometimes I really do save like my people stuff till sometimes when it's usually the last thing I do, but I just want to try and get this, whatever this thing going on here. I think this just needs more down here. Okay. And again, it's sort of the drawing kind of, well, the last thing you want is your paper to act weird, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. And I think I'm just going to do a checkup here. I think I could pick, you know, like if I don't want that feedback, I need to pick up some of this, or, you know, um, some blossoming there. I don't think that would behoove me in that spot. Like there's sometimes like I want it and I'll leave it in a certain area, but I don't want it there. So I'm picking it up. It's sort of, it went its journey. And so I'm just gonna, you know, let it go. And one thing I think it might be kind of nice is just throw some of this green color, this warmth. Like I want to throw some in the ground. So I'm just gonna take, you know, just to kind of connect, it's like just instead of having all that green. And so I'm just going to try and throw a little bit in there. And I think I'm past my welcome there. So I think I have to leave it. Okay. So I'm just going to go into the shadows and try and do this next connecting last bit of this. And so I'm going to keep going with this. So this, you know, sort of my manganese, and I sort of went into ultramarine, cobalt there, and same here. So just how there's a little hue switch between background, foreground. I'll put a little of this red. Here's some of my, over here in my corner here, I'll grab some of that violet and, you know, throw some green in there. Okay. It's almost like more important that I have enough of that. And before I do that, I'm just going to go into this car and do some people. And I'm just going to, I'll take some of this and just warm this up a tiny bit. Okay, so I'm just going to just indicate some people, and you know, they're sort of amassing here. Again, I don't even think about it now. I close my eyes when I'm doing this stuff. And I really think it's like the best approach you can do. So I just picked up a little darker version, windshield, kind of coming the edge of the car, kind of come down, missing some of those red lights. kind of going into the wheels. Cars are such a pain. Anyhow, but that looks, I think that's looking okay. And I just want some of this stuff to attach. I want to attach, oops.
So there's a question as to what brand of paper towels you like to use.
Oh, Bounty. Well, we go Costco. So, um,
Okay,
and
don't we all?
I know it sounds so funny. We were at a workshop and someone gave me some, what is it? Viva?
Viva, yeah.
Oh, yes,
I mean, I
yes.
felt like, what is this stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's weird.
know it was weird. I mean, it really was. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna, uh, you know, I think, um, just because I want to finish up, but I think I would have liked to do another wash on this, but I want these hard shadows. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll do the hard shadows and I'm going to dry it and I'll go on top with a transparent and do it like one touch and to get this darker because I want this darker and I want it to feel like there's more warmth or more light kind of shooting through here. But um, but I'm just gonna so I'm gonna do it that way. So just kind of coming through here. I'm just gonna like put these dark shadows from these trees, kind of I'm gonna merge the trees a little bit. This, I really find it so easy in doing this to cover too many things. And so, but you sort of have to be bold. Now, the thing is, do I stop it here? Do I go the whole way? And I think I need to go the whole way in terms of like how they're streaking. And it's almost like ocean waves, like as you get further out, and also there's some trees like maybe over there. So maybe I can have another one. I want to connect it to this car. I'm going to grab some of this lunar violet. I'm going to put it right down there, grab it. I'm just going to put it under the bottom side of this car. And then I'm just going to add some water right above it and just see if it will just go into those shadows.
So do you keep your people in the distance pretty loose? So
Oh
you're
yeah, yeah. I might be able to pick this up or I'll zoom in. No, I think I'll try and pick it up when I'm done. And just going into the black here. I'm not sure. I think maybe I can do it. There's the sign. Just gonna try and I'll just do it in black. Yeah, it's too early. It's too wet. And I'm doing it with a brush with too much water. So I gotta let that go. Maybe I'll just push that into that just to um sometimes, and I'm just looking to break even these shadows. It's so important not to repeat any kind of pattern, you know, in
Mhm.
doing this. And there'll be times like I'll splatter into this and I don't even not sure if it even needs the color, but just splattering a little into that and let it mix. It's like throws like another hue into this, which I kind of love that the hue shift of that. And I'm just going to grab some of this red and I'm just going to do the herb. I'll just do a couple. And how many minutes do I have now?
5.
5. Okay, so I think I'm going to dry it and then I'm going to pick it up and then let you look at it.
Looks great.
So I have it all. I have to take my clamps off so I can pick this up. I mean, I could try and untape it, but it's still sopping wet. So I think I'm going to avoid that.
Looks great though, Geoff. You already got a lot of people who are pretty impressed.
Oh, okay. Well, you get to see how messy it is underneath there. And it's like I really kind of like leaving like is it in focus enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like those people, I like that's white paper. And and I think I would definitely go into that and play with the values. I don't even mind that connects to that, like value wise.
Yeah.
To me, that's opening up a form in some ways. I'm not sure about the color of that. And, so anyhow, but a lot of times I'll do transparent glazes to get a value correct. Like I said, I think I'm going to do this, like some kind of wash over here. I'll put it back down. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll keep playing with it, and I'll post on my Instagram. I'll post the finished version of it.
Great.
Is there any other questions? I know it's rushing to the end.
I had a quick,
Lots of accolades.
might ask a quick question. It's Allie Berry, and you might not have anybody on that webinar tomorrow because it doesn't send the email. Eve Seligan and I have tried it repeatedly. The email doesn't come through. There might not be anybody
it
there.
didn't kick back an email for a place to go to. Okay.
It's not where all three of us have tried a number of times, and I'm not sure anyone's going to show up if it's not working.
Okay, I'll write Carrie and I'll tell her. Well, that's not the kind of thing she probably wants to get, but she'll get up earlier than me, and maybe she can send it out in the morning.
Alrighty.
I'm not sure if she's in New York or where
I
she
sent
is.
an email to where it said to send an email if it's not working, but we'll see. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Okay, I'll do it tonight. I'll send her something.
Thanks, dear.
Got feedback. Yeah. Sure.
Great painting. Great class.
This is Barb
thank you.
Weitzel. It looks amazing. It doesn't look like you need anything else.
Oh, no, I think it needs some. I don't know. You know what? I like to let it dry, and sometimes I untape it. I'll put it up, and just so I can have time with it. Like it might be this is nice, but maybe I could drop. Maybe I could take a little. I don't know, or maybe I'm not sure about this too. It's like I could drop that just a tiny bit in value, right here, just a bit. So we'll see. I know I have to think on it.
I like it though.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
what would you do if you were going to drop that in value?
What would I do if I?
Would you lift?
No, I would. I mean, drop it in value. I mean, like put more value on it, like sort of.
Darken it.
Yeah, darken this just a little bit, and then if I darken it, it might make that look more pronounced too. That little sunbreak over this. Like to me, that's just a tiny bit washed out, and I'm not, just a little bit. Like I could add water here, and again, transparent glazes. So nothing gets picked up. And a lot of times I use like a really super soft brush. I recently got these, or I'll use, a goat's hair, or I'm not sure what this is, but something big that, I can just do like one, the fewest strokes that I can manage to get it on there. Yeah.
Well, that was wonderful, Geoff. I mean, I think you impressed everyone. And we pushed the limit.
Okay.
We had 100 people.
Oh, 100 people. All right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Here, I'm going to stop sharing so I can say goodbye in person or face to face.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got lots and lots of compliments.
I really
Oh.
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
you
good.
are very speedy.
That's
Yeah,
just
you know,
your
I think,
background, right? That's what that's all about.
well, and I think I'd like to go fast because sometimes that makes me do things I'm not comfortable with, so that it's like if I had to think about it, I might not do it. So I kind of think, that's why it was kind of nice to hear how much time I had left.
Well, we're looking forward to the workshop, Geoff.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
It'll probably fill up by tomorrow.
Wonderful demo. Really great. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone.